You're welcome just to sit this morning. If you're more comfortable lying down or stretching out, you can do that too. It's not a big deal. But go ahead and settle yourself however you choose on your mat. If you're seated, draw your shoulders lightly back over your hips so you can feel yourself really grounded through your sitting bones. And then just take a second to breathe. Give yourself a moment here just to relax your shoulders, to relax your neck. You can move your shoulders in a circular motion, pulling them up, back, and down. You can move your head very gently side to side, or nod it forward and very, very gently backward. I discourage you from making full circle rolls with your head. Your head is pretty heavy. Your neck does not like it when you kind of swing your head all the way around. So if you do want to stretch out your neck, just go gently side to side, front to back, and then from neutral, right to left. And just take it slow, kind of breathe into any sticky places you find. As you relax your shoulders, you can pull the tops of your shoulders up to your ears, pull your shoulder blades in toward one another in your back, and then draw your shoulders back down. This just kind of warms up the joint and relaxes it a little bit. And then roll out your wrists, move your fingers, stretch and clench the palms of your hands, creating some space and some movement in the hands, wrists, forearms. Alright, if you'd like to get a little sip of tea or water or something, feel free. We're going to do some deep breathing today, and if you're not used to doing breathing exercises, sometimes getting started can make your mouth or your throat feel a little bit dry. So feel free to have something nearby just to sip on. I pretty much always do, whether it's water or tea, or let's be honest, sometimes coffee, nearby my mat, just so that I have it in case they start to dry out. Alright. You can bring the soles of your feet together and keep your knees dropped open into butterfly if you want to. It looks like this. And you can bring your feet as close to your body or as far away from you as you like. Alternatively, you can cross your shins. If this is more comfortable to help you sit up a little bit, sit up straight, feel free to sit like this. No matter which one you choose, bring your hands to your shins just below your knees. Roll your shoulders back and feel the center of your chest starting to lift up and forward. So your sternum, directly in the center of your rib cage right here, is being pulled not just forward toward your camera or the wall in front of you, but also slightly up, like it's aiming for where the wall is meeting the ceiling and the wall away from you. As you continue to lift, feel your shoulder blades pulling into your back. These two shoulder blades floating in your back are kind of drawing in toward one another, engaging those muscles. If it helps to have a visual, imagine that you have an assistant or a yoga teacher standing behind you with their hands on your shoulders, and they're just pressing one knee very gently into the center of your back to stretch open your chest and pull the shoulders back at the same time. Give yourself one more breath here. And then on your exhale, rock back on your tailbone, hang from your hands, so hold on tight. And as you curl your tailbone underneath, stretch through your upper back, you can tuck your chin and let those shoulder blades in your back that we pulled in toward each other a second ago, let them stretch apart from each other now. Really feel that big opening. Breathe normally. And then on your next natural inhale, come back up to center, roll your shoulders back, and exhale to reach forward with the chest. Inhale to center, exhale, roll back. Inhale to center, exhale to come forward. So we're moving pretty slowly. Inhale up, exhale, curl backward. Inhale up, exhale, lean forward. We're going to go once more each direction. And as you come back up to center, keep your right foot pulled in and stretch your left leg out to the left. You can pull this right foot in a little bit closer if that feels more stable. Sometimes keeping it away from you feels like it's harder to sit up. Stretch your left leg out to the left. It does not need to be perfect. We're not going into the splits. Reach your arms out on either side of you like wings, palms facing down toward the floor. And then draw your shoulders back until they're stacked over your hips. We don't want to do this lunging forward over the foot. We want to keep our torso nice and tall, posture nice and tall. On your inhale, reach to your right, keeping your shoulders and arms parallel to the floor. So don't let this right arm drop down. We're going to keep those arms nice and level. And on your exhale, reach your left hand for your left leg and sweep your right arm up and over your right ear for a big stretch. So we're going to inhale, airplane arms to the side. Exhale, sweep up and over. Inhale to the side, to the right. Exhale to stretch to the left. Give yourself 2 more. Good. And as you come into this last stretch, hang out here for a couple of breaths. Really reach out of your right hip, reach through your right hand fingertips. Lengthen all the way down the right side of your body and make sure that you're not either twisting open dramatically or twisting closed toward the floor. We want this shoulder to be stacked right over your torso. All right, come back up to center. Bring the soles of your feet back together. We're going to find a few more of these cat-cow variations. So holding onto your shins. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, lean your chest forward, lengthening your spine. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, curl back. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward. You can go slower than I'm going if you want to really savor your breath. You do not have to move this fast. You can slow down and breathe. Relax into the motion. Let your body set its own pace. Good. 1 more each direction. And as you come back up to center, keep your left leg pulled in and stretch your right leg out to the side. Just like before, you can draw this left foot in a little bit closer if that helps you sit up tall. Stretch your arms out straight, airplane arms, palms facing down. We're going to inhale to the left this time, keeping the shoulders level, arms level with the floor, and exhale to the right, dropping your right hand to your right leg, sweep your left arm up and over. There's a pivot in your wrist here. When you come back from airplane arms, your left hand is going to be facing the floor, and then we have to turn it to face the ceiling before you sweep the arm up and over. So don't forget to make that little rotation. If you get lost and you're not sure where the rotation belongs or what direction your hand is supposed to face, just know that when you're all the way in a posture in this particular little sequence, your palms should be facing the floor. So here, my palm is facing the floor because I turned my wrist. And here it's facing the floor again. Give yourself 1 more. Good, and as you come back up to center, bring the soles of your feet together. Hold on with your hands, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Inhale deeply, exhale, reach forward through the center of the chest. Inhale, come up to center, exhale, curl back. Inhale up, exhale forward. Inhale up, exhale back. 1 more each direction. And as you come back up to center, straighten your legs on the floor in front of you. Now, as always, when we're moving into staff pose pretty early on in our practice, you might find that your hamstrings are still a little bit tight. Mine are, and I can tell because my back is rounding a little bit when I straighten my knees. So if you're like me today, go ahead and lift your knees just a little bit. Pull your heels back toward your body to lift your knees 3 or 4 inches off the floor. And then see if this lets you sit up a little taller and stack your shoulders right over your hips. That's what we're aiming for. Open your arms like goalposts. Elbows extending away from you and bent at 90 degrees. Palms are kind of facing your face. So your thumbs are pointed behind you. Inhale here and lift the center of your chest skyward. Really roll your shoulders back and lift your chest as much as you can. On your exhale, curl forward like you're bringing big wings up on either side of you to shelter you. Inhale, back open, chest lifts. Exhale, stretch through those shoulder blades. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. 2 more. And as you come back up to center with your goalpost arms, you can just relax your hands back down to your thighs. We're going to bend the right knee a little bit more and sneak the left leg underneath the right leg. So you'll have to bend the left knee as well, let it go out to the side, and just hook this left foot underneath your right leg and slide it as far underneath your right leg as you comfortably can. This is going to be the beginnings of a stretch on the outside of your thigh here. This is also going to be some rotation in your knee. You do not have to force this knee down to the floor. That would put a lot of pressure on the joint. So just let it hang out here wherever it naturally wants to be, but keep sliding it underneath your right leg until you feel like you can't go any further. Now you can keep your right foot here. You don't have to move it at all. But if you really feel like you're warm and you want to keep moving, you can start to move your right leg to the outside of your left leg. It might be too early for you in the day to do this. If it is, don't push yourself. That is not what we're here to do. I'm going to keep my foot right where it was instead of stepping to the outside of my left leg. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Sweep your right arm up for the ceiling and drop it down behind you to find a little twist in your shoulders. I'm using my left hand on my right knee as a little bit of traction here, but I'm not wrenching myself into the twist. We're not forcing it to go any further. We're just kind of hanging out here. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling length in the spine. And if I were to lift both of my hands, I would stay in the twist because I'm doing this from my back muscles and not from my hands. Alright, rotate gently back to center. Pull that left leg back out, plant your left foot on the floor. Slide your right leg underneath your left, and just like before, we're not going to force the right knee down to the mat. We're just sliding the right leg as far over to the left as we comfortably can. Lifting up nice and tall, sitting up in a long spine, sweep the left arm up, and then drop it behind you, letting that twist happen from your back. You can use your right hand on your left knee if you want to. Just breathe here for a second. Just as before, no matter how deep we go into the twist, you can lift your hands and not come out of the twist. It's all happening in your torso. Good, one more big breath here. And then rotate gently back to center. Pull your right leg back out. Stretch your right leg out straight on the mat. We're going to pull the left foot in a little bit closer and drop this left leg into half butterfly. So just this left knee is going out to the side. The sole of your left foot is roughly alongside your right leg, either at the thigh or at the calf. It doesn't have to be exact. Inhale and sweep your arms up, palms facing one another like you're holding a big beach ball overhead. We're going to find a scooping motion with the arms and with the chest all the way down the straight leg. So it looks like this. When we start here, we'll inhale deeply. And as we exhale, we're going to scoop down either side of the straight leg with the arms and with the chest and come back up to center and to straight arms. Once we get up here, as we take a big inhale, we're going to switch our legs out, stretching the left leg out and bending the right knee. Exhale, scoop down the left leg and come back up. Inhale and switch your legs. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, switch. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, switch. We're going to do a few more of these and you'll move at your own pace. If you're really itching for a little bit more of a challenge today, do the same motion, But when you come up for your inhale, instead of sliding your feet on the floor, pop back on your tailbone and switch your legs out in midair. This takes a little more control in your core, a little more strength in your legs to make the switch smoothly. Challenge yourself to move slowly. Hopefully your shoulders are feeling warm. Do one more down each leg. And then when you've done your last one, just relax your arms down, relax your shoulders. You're gonna wiggle it out a little bit and breathe. Good. All right, bring whichever knee is out to the side, back up to center. Stretch both legs out straight, and if that causes your back to round, put a little bend in your knees so you can sit up taller. Sweep both arms up, really reach through your chest, and exhale to fold down over your legs as far as you can comfortably go. Try to lift out of your low back as you fold down, but if your back starts to round at this point, it's not the end of the world. It's okay to let your spine round in a forward fold. There are specific times when we're trying to keep a totally flat back. This is not really one of them. We're just relaxing for a second. You can tuck your chin. You can bring your hands to your legs or to the floor if this is better stability for you. And then come gently back up. Keep your left leg out straight and bend your right knee. We're going to move the left hand around the front of the right leg, aiming for the outside of the right ankle or the outside of the right foot. So if you're having a hard time seeing, I'll flip it for you. This left arm is giving the right leg a hug from the front. We're going to grab onto the outside of the ankle or the outside of the foot. Starting with your shoulders nice and centered, we're going to sweep the right arm up and back to find that same little twisting motion that we did a second ago. And as you bring your whole right hand to the floor, your right foot is going to pop off of the mat in order to let that happen. And we're just really slowly going to start to lift this right heel away from the floor. You do not have to go all the way to a straight leg. Some of you are going to be able to do it with no problem, and you're welcome to try if you want to. But we're just going to very gently move the leg towards straight and then back out of the stretch a little bit. Straighten a little bit more and back out of the stretch. And we're going to do this a few times. You also might notice that because you're holding onto your foot with your left hand, your foot is going to have a tendency to want to cross over your left leg. Don't let it do that. Try and keep it in its own space, aligned with its own hip. All right, try just a couple more. Maybe reach a little bit further towards straight, and then bend the knee, and then reach a little further towards straight, and bend the knee, and we can bring the right foot back to the floor and pivot the shoulders back to the front. Switch out legs. Left knee bends. Bring your right arm around the front of your left leg like you're giving your leg a hug. Grab onto your ankle or the outside arch of your left foot. Sweep the right arm up and back and drop it down behind you. And as you bring the heel of your hand to the floor, feel your left foot pop off the mat. Just like before, we're going to try and keep this leg even, stretched out in its own space instead of letting it cross over the right leg. And just very gently lift and lower. Lift and lower. Moving slowly. Stay with your breath. Try to breathe deeply and evenly as you move this leg towards straight, getting as close to straight as your body wants to today. Give yourself 2 more. And then we'll go ahead and drop this left foot back to the floor, sweep the left arm back up and over to square the shoulders. And you can bring your legs up underneath you. We're going to start working our way onto hands and knees for tabletop. As you move onto your knees, try to position your knees roughly hip distance apart directly under your hip joint, and bring your hands to the mat with your wrists roughly underneath your shoulders. As we usually talk about, it's pretty important in the wrists to find, or rather the shoulders, but you'll see it in your wrists, to find a nice external rotation in the shoulder. Internally rotated shoulders have the elbows going out to the sides and the fingertips pulling in toward one another. This is really unstable for your shoulders. We don't want to bear weight on our arms when our shoulders look like this. So instead, we want to reach one arm underneath the other arm, feel the outside of that shoulder joint and pull it down to externally rotate that shoulder and lock it into the joint, keep it safe. So as you reach your hands in front of you, externally rotate. If your pointer fingers are parallel, you know you've got it right, and reach through long, active arms. Feel the center of your chest lifting lightly, and pull the crown of your head toward the wall in front of you so your nose is pointed down and your neck is pretty neutral. Inhale deeply here. Exhale, press up between your shoulder blades, tuck your tailbone and pull your chin to your chest. Inhale, come back to neutral, chest is lifting up and forward. Exhale, curl, shoulder blades go up. Inhale, back into center. Exhale, curl. Inhale, back to center. Now keep your weight even between your hands and stretch your left leg out on the floor behind you, pressing your left foot toes into the mat and drive your left heel down toward the floor. So you're sort of using your hands to help you do this. You're really pressing that left heel down toward the floor behind you, keeping the hips as square as possible. Breathe here. Feel your breath moving normally in your body as much as you can. And then bring your left knee back to the floor and stretch your right leg out straight behind you. Press your right foot toes into the floor, drive that heel down. You'll feel this in your calf initially. And then as you keep breathing, you're going to feel it in your shoulders and you'll feel a little bit in your core. There's a little bit of work going on pretty much everywhere. All right. Bring your right knee back to the mat, flip both sets of toes under and sit your hips back toward your heels. You might keep your fingertips on the mat if it's hard for you to put pressure on your ankles or your arches. If it's not, if you can safely do this, you're welcome to sit all the way up for a second. Lengthen through your spine, roll your shoulders. If this is hard on your knees or your ankles, you can just come directly up to standing. You don't have to park here. Now there are a couple of different ways to get to standing. Well, there are multiple ways to get to standing. You should pick the one that's easiest on your body this morning. If you want to just move to standing in a pretty direct way, bring your fingertips to the floor on either side of your knees. Pop your hips back to lift your knees off the floor. Send your heels down. Come into a forward fold and come up to standing. Find your stance nice and tall in mountain pose. We're going to take a second to readjust here and get situated. You can bring your feet together, or you can bring your big toes together and let your heels separate just a little bit. This tends to be my go-to. Send your tailbone directly down toward the floor. Feel your lower belly lifting up into your body. Draw your front ribs closed in front of you like you're closing a vest in front of you. Relax your shoulders down your back. You don't have to pull them really hard. We're just letting them melt. Open your arms at your sides, palms facing forward, and release the tops of your ears away from, or tops of your shoulders away from your ears. I needed more caffeine than I got this morning, I'll tell you that. On an inhale, sweep both arms up. Palms come to face one another. On your exhale, bend your knees and sink down as you forward fold. The goal is to bring your belly down to your thighs. Relax your head, relax your neck. On your inhale, bring your hands to your shins and lift up halfway. Roll the shoulders back. You can start to straighten your legs here if you want to. And don't be like me, lifting your head, point your nose directly toward the floor. So you're reaching the top of your head toward the wall in front of you. On an exhale, fold back down, bend your knees, relax your belly to your thighs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to standing, palms come up to face one another. And exhale to release your arms down at your sides. We're gonna do 2 more of these, nice and slow. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, dive, bend your knees. Inhale, lift up halfway, nose points toward the mat. Exhale, fold back down, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep on up to standing. And exhale, release your arms, take a breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, bent knees. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, fold back down. Inhale, sweep on up to standing. And exhale, relax. Take a second here. Notice your energy, notice your body starting to wake up. Alright, wherever you're standing, make sure you've got some space behind you to work. So I'm going to pivot and step up on my mat a little bit, starting from here. Bring your hands to your hips and make sure your hips are nice and square. Step your left foot back in space, and it doesn't have to go back very far. You want to be able to bring your left heel all the way down to the floor. So as you step back, heels don't have to be quite in one line, but they can be lined up if you want to, and both feet are pointed directly forward. Actively press down through the outside arch of your back foot and through your heel to keep them in contact with the mat, and make sure your hips are square to the front. Now if it's really hard to keep your heel planted, you might need to step your back foot up forward a little bit. Lift through your chest, send your tailbone down, engage those abdominal muscles up into your body. You can keep your hands on your hips as you press your hips out behind you and start to lean forward into pyramid. As you reach forward, we're not folding, so if you feel your back starting to round, your shoulders starting to hunch, stand back up and find that tall posture. Press your hips back and reach your chest toward the wall in front of you. Keep reaching, keep reaching. And you can stop here if you're relatively new to this posture. If you're more of an intermediate practitioner and you want to make this a little rougher on yourself, you can sweep your arms back, reaching through your fingertips, keeping your chest lifted. And if you're really ready to warm yourself up this morning, you can try sweeping your arms forward along your ears instead. Really reach through that chest, really press those hips back in space. One more breath. And then bring your hands back to your hips. Come all the way back up and step up to the front. Good. You can walk it out a little bit. With your nice tall mountain pose, tailbone dropping down, lower belly pulling up, shoulders relaxing down, front ribs closing. Step your right foot back in space. You can go back as far as you comfortably can, but make sure you bring that heel all the way to the floor and keep it there the entire time. Press your hips back in space. Feel your weight in that back heel. Hinge forward, lifting your chest toward the wall in front of you. And when you absolutely can't go any further without rounding your back, maybe you start to reach your arms out behind you. Maybe you start to sweep your arms up in front of you. There's a lot happening in this pose. We're not just hanging out here. My back foot is actively pressing down into the floor. My hips are actively pressing back. My chest is reaching up and forward to keep my spine nice and long. And as I reach my arms up, I'm not hunching my shoulders. I'm keeping the shoulders gently pulled back into my body. Last breath. And then you can bring your hands back to your hips. Hinge back up and gently step back up to the front of the mat. Good. Walk it out just a little. Keeping your hands on your hips, step your left foot back in space, just like you did a second ago. But this time, when you bring your left foot back, we're also going to step it out to the left a little bit. So bring it out to the left edge of your mat. This is going to make it easier for you to square your hips to the front as you find a little lunge in your right leg. Actively drive your left leg, especially your heel, down to the floor. And sweep both arms up, palms facing one another like you're holding a beach ball. Shoulders relaxing into the sockets. And the last little bit of this warrior one posture is an optional back bend, but it's not a crunch back. We're not crunching in the low back. It's a lift from the center of the chest that naturally causes the spine to curve. So as you keep this knee centered over the ankle, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back, and maybe look up a little bit. Try and find a nice, big, wide open chest. Beautiful. Keep that back heel pressing down. And then bring your hands to your hips and step up to the front of the mat. Pedal it out. From your mountain pose, step your right foot back. And then as we find this lunge in the left leg, I'm going to step my right foot out toward the right edge of my mat to make it easier to square my hips toward the front of the room. Try to keep your front knee centered over your front ankle. If you're having a hard time gauging, you should be able to see your big toe peeking out of the inside edge of your knee. That's a good indicator. With nice square hips, sweep your arms up. And then lastly, lift the center of your chest, roll your shoulders back. Breathe deeply here. And then bring your hands back to your hips and gently step back up to the front of the mat. Walk it out. All right, let's go ahead and find our way back down to our seated position. This is where it's going to be very helpful and handy to have something to drink nearby. As we move into our breath exercises, if you are new to these, it's not something you've ever experienced before, you might find that the first few tries of a breath exercise can feel just a tiny bit claustrophobic. If that starts to happen to you, just back out of it. Breathe normally for a few breaths, just rest and relax. Pranayama, or the practice of breath control, is a practice and we build up to it. We take our time getting there. This is not something we ever just power through. In fact, I would personally go so far as to say that yoga in general is something we never just power through. We take our time, we set our pace, we practice svadhyaya, which is self-study, self-knowledge. We acknowledge where we are and we meet ourselves there. So feel free to take a sip of something if you're feeling a little dry. On your inhale, draw your shoulders back over your hips just a little so you can feel yourself sitting up tall. Exhale completely all the air from your lungs and feel your low belly muscles lift to expel the air. Your front ribs pull back and your collarbones settle. When you inhale, start by feeling your breath in the low part of your body, belly expanding like a balloon, ribs expanding, collarbone broadening. And as you exhale, relax the collarbone, relax the rib cage, and expel the last little bit of air from your low belly. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale deeply in the low part of your belly. Then begin to fill your ribs. And lastly, begin to fill the upper part of your chest, expanding the collarbone. Exhale in reverse. Collarbone relaxes, ribs contract, low belly presses the last bit of air out. Let's do two more. Inhale, low belly. Feel the belly muscles expand. Inhale, rib cage. Inhale, upper chest. Exhale from the upper chest. Exhale from the rib cage. Exhale from the low belly. Last one. Inhale. 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 Exhale. 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 Return to just a natural, normal breath, however that sits in your body, however that feels for you. All right, we're going to practice what is called a broken breath, and we're only going to break it into 2 pieces. If you're familiar with this, we're not going all the way to 7 pieces like we have done in some of my classes. A broken breath is when we take either the inhale or the exhale and we break it into segments. So we will, for example, starting with our inhale, inhale halfway and then pause just for a beat, suspending the breath for just a split second. before we inhale the rest of the way. We exhale all in one long exhale. Inhale halfway, pause for a brief suspension, inhale the rest of the way, exhale all in one. We'll start with that, and then after several rounds we'll switch and we'll inhale all in one and exhale in two pieces, okay? Inhaling from your low belly, inhaling into your rib cage, pause at the halfway mark for a split second. Then inhale the rest of your rib cage and inhale to expand your collarbone. Exhale all in one. Inhale halfway, pause for just a split second. Inhale the rest of the way. Exhale all in one. Inhale halfway. Inhale the rest of the way. Exhale. Inhale halfway, pause. Inhale the rest of the way. Exhale. Inhale halfway. Inhale the rest of the way. Exhale. Two more. Inhale, pause. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, pause. Inhale. Exhale. Now allow yourself to return to a normal, natural rhythm. Just breathe easily into that space. Now we're going to find the reverse, or the inverse, I should say. Inhaling all in one, then exhaling halfway, pausing for a brief suspension, and exhaling the rest of the way. All together, inhale, exhale halfway, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Inhale, exhale halfway, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Inhale, exhale halfway, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Inhale, exhale halfway, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Inhale, exhale halfway, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Last one. Inhale, exhale halfway, exhale the rest of the way, and shift back to an easy, natural breath. Try to notice how your breath feels right now. Doing this particular exercise kind of unlocks that full, deep breath that we need. It might even cause you to yawn, because we're really inflating the lungs. So just kind of notice how you're feeling. Now is a great opportunity, if you'd like one, to take a little Shavasana. You can stretch out on your mat, relaxing down onto your back or your side. You can grab a pillow if you want to. There's no wrong way to rest in this particular situation. You're also welcome to stay seated. This is what I tend to do, but honestly it's just an old habit from teaching in a studio where I wanted to be able to see my students while they were in Shavasana, so I just default to sitting during these few minutes. No matter what you choose to do, allow your eyes to drift closed. Allow the muscles in your face to relax. Relax your hands and feet, your fingers and toes. Relax the muscles in your throat so that your breath is uninhibited, your throat is wide and relaxed and open. Turn your attention to your breath. We're not forcing any particular breath right now. We're not creating anything artificial. We're just breathing and noticing how it sits in your body. Start to notice in the lower half of your body, your hips, your legs, your feet. Do you feel any movement in the low half of your body when you breathe? Do you feel your hips shifting a little bit as your diaphragm moves? You feel maybe these little twinges that come from your fascia connection all the way through your body. Fascia moving and shifting slightly as you breathe. Where in your legs or your hips or your low back do you feel your breath that might surprise you? Just take notice. Just observe. And then start to notice where you feel your breath in the upper half of your body. In your torso, in your rib cage, obviously, but then above that in your shoulders maybe, down your arms, into your throat. Find we move quite a bit when we breathe, even when we're trying to be perfectly still. And lastly, draw your awareness up into your face, up into your head, and notice where and how you move in your facial muscles, maybe the muscles around your ears, the muscles up in your temple, maybe across your brow. Start to deepen your inhale. Draw some wakefulness back into your body as you breathe down your arms and legs, finding some little movements in your fingers and toes, your palms and the soles of your feet, and in your wrists and ankles. If you're lying down, go ahead and slowly pull yourself up to a seated position. You don't have to rush, you've got plenty of time to get here. If you're seated, just make sure you're sitting up tall, shoulders are pulled back so that they're stacked right over your hips. And we will all meet here with palms together in front of the chest, just to take a moment of acknowledgement. We bring the hands together like this in Anjali Mudra. That's what that's called. As a way of acknowledging ourselves where we are, in this particular case, in this seated position, but also mentally and emotionally. When you find that a certain part of your body needs your attention, we instinctively put our hands on it. If you stub your toe, you reach down for it. When we bring our palms together, we are making that connection with our body. As we draw the thumbs to the heart center, we are saying, I'm paying attention to you. I'm here with you, I'm acknowledging you. You're directing your brain to stay present in your body. We will close like we usually do with 3 deep breaths all together, in through the nose and out through the mouth like a deep decompressive sigh. And if you'd like, you can join me in sweeping your arms up on the inhale and bringing your hands back down to Anjali Mudra on the exhale. All right, all together, inhaling. Om Shanti Om. Thank you so much for joining me here at Revival Tea Company. My gracious hosts, Drew and Serena, are so wonderful to let me use this space while everything is shut down. Because we're still in phase 1 here in Washington, the cafe is not open for dining. Nobody's coming in here to sit and drink tea, but you can still come in to get takeaway orders for tea, or you can have it delivered to your house. And I'm not an advertiser for them. They don't pay me to say any of this. I really love this small business, and I want to really support them in this time. My name is Mandy Nicole. I am Tenacious Mandy on Instagram and Facebook. That's Mandy with a Y. I am also the owner and founder of Kalita Yoga School, a Yoga Alliance certified education provider, and I have a website. My family's website is 3moonshome.com. Moons is plural, so THREEMOONSHOME. We have a virtual homestead for you where we offer guidance, divination, and a bunch of other things. And then Kalita Yoga School is on that website as well. We just put everything together. You can go there to find yoga videos and sign up for downloadable resources, and even book private lessons with me. And then find out where else I do live stream classes. I offer several classes during the week, including some free meditations on my own Instagram Live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. So there's a lot to explore. I hope you'll come find me on Instagram at Tenacious Mandy, all one word, no punctuation. And I will join you here next week at 8 a.m. on Saturday for some more tea and yoga. I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay well, and I'll see you next week.